Hey, this is Michelle Kapaska, and welcome to my Fearless Innovator podcast. Thank you for joining me today. My hope is to inspire, educate, and entertain you. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Fearless Innovator podcast. My name is Michelle Kapaska, and I'm your host. Today's episode is You Only Die Once. How many of you say, oh, I'm going to go do that someday, and you never do it, and your bucket list just keeps growing? And how many of you actually do it? What's stopping you? I know what's stopping you. It's you, and it's your attitude. You only live once. You know, YOLO is the old saying. Well, what if we thought about it like this? You only die once. Let's call it you do. Don't you think that would inspire you to live more of your life? Just the mere thought that if I die tomorrow inspires me enough to go out and do the things I want to do in my life. 5 months before my dad died, he told me that he had done everything in his life he ever wanted to do, that he was happy and he had no regrets. He was 64 years young. As luck would have it, Dad died of the widowmaker. I was grateful it was an instant death and he didn't suffer, but he was 64 years young. And you know the worst part? What he died from is hereditary. So guess what? I got scanned. Yes, my carotid artery is blocked 65% with the same silent killer. Now I'm 57 years young and encroaching on that ever so fearful age of 64. What did my dad do before that fateful day on July 5, 2007? At the age of 55, my dad started living life and scaling back his work life. I like to think that Dad somehow knew he was going to die young, so he prepared early to start enjoying his life. He made countless trips to Alaska, Arkansas, and Florida. Mom didn't much care for Alaska, so she didn't go there. He went there by himself, but he and Mom would go to Arkansas to see my sister Melissa and to Florida to see me. Also in his spare time, he restored several 1961 Impalas and one Bel Air and did numerous other things. I also spent a lot of time with my dad in Alaska. I've been to the Iditarod 4 times, and I volunteered at the start in Anchorage and the finish in Nome. Dad and I went on a 7-day night adventure down the Grand Canyon whitewater rafting. We've driven our motorcycles on the Pig Trail in Arkansas, where we met a guy that gave us each a penny that he had carved out a cross in it. We hung them on our bike keychains. We've ridden our motorcycles in Daytona, and we've been to several Daytona 500s. Our next adventure was to drive a professional NASCAR, but that would never happen. To say the least, my dad was an adventurist and never turned down an opportunity to do something fun. My dad had figured out how to retire without retiring. He just kind of slid out of working and right into enjoying life. The point is, you only die once. So get out there and live like it's your last day. I believe we can all slide right into enjoying life before we have to call it retirement at the age of 67. After all, I'm not counting on my money being in the retirement account when and if I turn 67. I'm going to enjoy my life now. 2 years ago, I had planned on driving Dad's Freightliner and my RV to Iowa and stay for about a month to go see my mom, who's in a nursing home now, and then go to Arkansas to see my sister Melissa. Well, that damn virus shut me down. So fast forward to 2021, I put the plan in place and made it happen this year. I put my real estate on autopilot, which means I was earning income while I took off from my home state of Iowa. In other words, my real estate was working, but I wasn't. To say I didn't work while I was in Iowa would be false. I absolutely did work while I was in Iowa. I can do real estate anywhere. So I set up my office in the back of my toy hauler and set off to learn everything I could learn about the real estate market in Des Moines and Ames. I attended local real estate and financial independence meetings, and I even have one deal in the works today. I've met amazing people in the area and have set up a network of people that when needed, I can count on to help put deals together or help other investors find what they are looking for. But what I want to share with you are the amazing people and adventures I had in Iowa for 3 months. Keep in mind, I've been away from Iowa for almost 40 years, but I would frequently come home yearly to see my mom and dad. First and foremost, I got to spend as much time as I wanted to see my mom. Unfortunately, my mom has dementia and is in a nursing home. The blessing here is that she is healthy. She knows who I am, and we laughed a lot. I was extremely fortunate that during my 3-month stay, the nursing home was not shut down with the virus. My heart goes out to all the nursing staff and the administration for all their hard work and time they put in. I know the nursing staff is tired, but for that, I'm very thankful for everything they do. Let's start with the amazing Timberline Campground in Waukee, Iowa. It's only the fastest growing city in our nation. You all know that I want to own an RV park, right? Well, Marta was a blessing, and I don't even think she knows it. She and her staff were so attentive, friendly, and helpful. I can't tell you how many questions I pelted at Marta about owning an RV park, but boy, was she knowledgeable and always pointed me in the right direction. And I will tell you, their Wi-Fi rocked at her place. I vote her place as the best place to work place. She truly felt like family at the end, and I was very sad to leave her place. Marta, I will be back, is all I can say. And by the way, I loved all the gunfire next door. While in Iowa, we made the best of our time. Yes, I said we. I am no longer an I. While I was in Iowa, I was joined with my boyfriend, Kurt. And here are several things we did in the amazing state of Iowa. And I've attached all the websites in my notes for your reference. Did you know that Iowa has a whiskey distillery? It's called the Templeton Distillery. And we did a tour of the Templeton Distillery and learned how they crafted Templeton rye during Prohibition. And now you can find it in stores across the United States. What was even more interesting is to learn how they bootlegged this. They would park a horse, a white horse specifically, out front of, I assume back then it was a barn. And when your bottle of whiskey was ready, they would raise a fence post and carved out a hole in the bottom of the fence post and would place your specific bottle or your order into that fence post. And then when your order was ready, you knew the post that was yours. But when the white horse was parked out front, that's when you were to go get it. And of course, this all happened at night. So that was a very interesting place to see. And then when I got back into Florida, I wanted to validate that Templeton rye was actually here. And yes, I found it at Publix. So that was interesting. Another thing that we did was the Boone and Scenic Valley Railroad. Kurt and I took an evening dinner train ride and learned about the history of the train and took a scenic ride and talked with the conductor and ate dinner in our private quarters. It was really cool. But here's the best one, the Freedom Rocks. I bet you've not heard of this one. There was a huge boulder sitting along Highway 25 near my home in Iowa that sat on a private property back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but it succumbed to graffiti. In 1999, Bubba Sorensen painted a thank you to our veterans on the boulder, and each year before Memorial Day, he would paint a new scene. It is now an annual tourist attraction to honor our servicemen and women. However, there are now 99 Freedom Rocks in Iowa, one for each county. So while I was in Iowa and with the help of my boyfriend, Kurt, and my cousins, Steve and Kelly, and a friend, Brian, we have now visited 61 of the 99 rocks. We rode over 3,000 miles on our bikes to see these rocks, 750 miles and 15 rocks in one weekend. I have pictures of every rock on my personal Facebook page, but I'll be sure to post some of them on my public page. At this point, I no longer have a favorite rock. They were all amazing in their own way. We even met a veteran who lived in Nebraska, and he and his wife were on their 60th wedding anniversary, and they told us that they had seen 50 rocks. Well, that just encouraged us to go see as many rocks as we possibly could. So we did. I bet you didn't know this one either. There's a popcorn ball in Iowa, and it's the largest popcorn ball. Who knew that the largest popcorn ball was in Iowa? It tips the scale at 9,370 pounds, and it's a Guinness World Record. We actually ran across that as we were looking at rocks. Okay, let's talk about food. Oh my gosh, the food is off the chart in Iowa. But two of my favorite places were the American Legion Steak Fry in Dexter. It was an off-the-chart steak fry, and who knew I'd run into family members I never knew. They invited me to the Kapaska family reunion. I didn't know a soul, but I'm thankful I went. I now know Colleen, Carolyn, Jackie, Sherry, and several others that I can't even remember. It was overwhelming. Another favorite place to eat of mine was also in Dexter. And when I say Dexter, this town is dinky. It's really small. And this Rusty Duck in Dexter looks like a rusty duck, and it doesn't even look like it's open for business. But who knew such a small town would have a killer black salmon recipe? And the portion size was 3 times the size you get here in Florida. We also attended the Iowa State Fair. We attended the Styx concert, and oh my gosh, the food off the chart again. Kurt also put his car, he's got a 1979. It looks like a Smokey and the Bandit car, but technically it's not. But it is a 1979 Trans Am. And he took it to a Good Guys car show, which is a nationwide show. And then we went to a local Stewart's Scoop the Loop where Kurt won a trophy. We also, on our adventure, went to the Field of Dreams, and everybody's heard of this. You've all seen the movie. Now I can say I've been there and stood in the cornfield. We also did adventures with Kurt's sister, Julia, and her husband, Travis. We went on a kayaking trip. I'm not sure we kayaked more than we walked, but it was still an adventure. We also went to an Iowa Cubs game with Kurt's other sister, Colleen, and her husband, Dave. Dave. Oh, Dave. Dave is the guy that knows every restaurant inside and outside of Iowa. I swear. Call Dave if you're looking for fantastic food. My sister Melissa came up from Arkansas for a week, and we got to spend more quality time together and visiting with our mom. Kurt's extended family. Wow. He's got a big family, and I was so blessed to meet all of them. We even attended a wedding, and we visited with them individually. It was a great time. What will I miss most about Iowa? The sweet corn. There is nothing like sweet corn right out of the field. And we ate as much as possible from June to September. As soon as September 1 hit, the sweet corn quit. And it was just a downer. We will also miss our favorite Waukee ice cream shop. We went every night because we knew they would soon close for the season. And if you don't know about up north, the season is kind of running from Memorial Weekend to Labor Day weekend. And when Labor Day weekend hits, everything closes. The pools close. There's no more sweet corn. The ice cream shops all close. It was just crazy. They created their own demand. Okay, I won't miss the portion sizes. I think I've gained 10 pounds. Oh my God, the food was amazing. And I've saved the best 2 for last, and not in any particular order. Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't get the chance to do this with you, but I can now say that I have driven Greg Biffle's number 16 car at the Iowa Speedway at the Rusty Wallace driving experience. It was everything I had hoped it would be. And I even said a prayer for you on one of my laps and dedicated it to you. I hope you heard that. And I hope you're proud that I completed the run without wrecking, and I went as fast as I could without fear. And finally, Kurt and I attended a 38 Special concert in Omaha. The concert was beyond special. To make a very long story short, It was during the Caught Up in You song, which is my favorite song of all time, where they sing, "You've got me down on my knees," that Kurt got down on his knee and proposed to me. And of course, I accepted his proposal. So now I'm engaged. God works in mysterious ways, and this story is much longer and deserves its own podcast episode. I'm thankful for the Kapaska get-togethers and reuniting with all the Kapaskas. It was refreshing to renew the sense of community. I think I missed that. Not much of that in the land of Florida. I'm thankful to all the friends I got to see, even though it was brief. I'm thankful to my Uncle Steve for fixing my dad's carburetor for the 61 Bel Air car shows. Here I come. I'm thankful for my cousin Stevie, who fixed one of the 3 AC units on my RV. And to all those repair facilities that said it couldn't be done, you're just a ripoff. I asked myself, if this is retirement, why would I want to stop? I think my dad was onto something when he quit working around 55. I've now done it, and I think you can too. You only die once. You do. My 3-month adventure has ended, and the real estate market is turning around. I've found some cash flowing opportunities, and when I seal the deal, I will be looking for partners to share in the rewards. If you want to know more, reach out to me at fearlessinnovator.com, or you can now listen to me on the Fearless Innovator podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Thank you for listening. I hope you were inspired, entertained, or you learned something new. Catch me later. Thank you for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If I can help you invest in your future, reach out to me at fearlessinnovator.com. Catch me later.